2 lives as a pigeon, 6 lives as a sparrow. Jennifer's karmic retribution for adultery. To ensure privacy, the story still retains the original plot, but the character names have been changed. Hope you understand. Here is another story about adultery. We continue with the journey of saving lost souls, the retribution of being drilled into the body by a machine, as well as reincarnating as a sparrow. And now, let's follow this story together. If you believe, reflect on it. If not, watch it for entertainment. Our main character today is named Jennifer. When sharing this story with Kevin, Sister Helen recounted that there was information and the address of this spirit. However, when sharing, she asked for permission to hide the information. Everyone. Before that, this spirit had finished suffering 2 lives as a pigeon as well as 6 lives as a sparrow. In the final sparrow life, after dying, this spirit was allowed to return to the underworld. Down here, the spirit drank the soul-restoring water, then was allowed to return to her original form as Miss Jennifer. When alive, Jennifer was married. Her husband was quite a wife spoiler. He helped Jennifer with every household chore. However, Jennifer's husband was a dry person, not knowing how to say flowery words. Although the husband was very caring, frequently doing housework to support his wife, Jennifer frequently criticized her husband, saying he was a country bumpkin. When alive, Jennifer was quite capable and also had beauty, and she worked in a large enterprise. At Jennifer's workplace, there was a male colleague, and this person was a dashing, gallant man. Jennifer was frequently praised by this man, so she had feelings for him. After that, Jennifer proactively flirted with that man. Initially, that man lied that he didn't have a family yet. Hearing that this man didn't have a family, Jennifer pushed forward even more, and she frequently approached this guy to seduce him. Everyone. When the relationship progressed closer, that guy said he already had a family and couldn't continue this relationship now. However, when knowing that, Jennifer turned a deaf ear and was still determined to come to this guy. After a long time of having relations with each other, they had very deep feelings. When Jennifer went home, she frequently criticized her husband as well as shunned him, not being intimate with her husband. Every task like taking care of children, cooking, that husband had to do it all, and Jennifer didn't do any family work. Time at home became less and less, and Jennifer frequently lied that there was work at the company, so she used that time to go fool around with her lover. She shared that at that time, the atmosphere in the family was extremely suffocating, and she only wanted to go find that guy, not wanting to stay at home for a single moment. That man initially refused very fiercely. However, when this Jennifer attacked too strongly, he couldn't resist, and the two decided to live together like husband and wife. Living together for 6 years, Jennifer's husband didn't know she was having an affair, and that guy's wife didn't know he was having an affair. Therefore, at a certain time, this Jennifer decided to advise that guy to leave his wife and she would leave her husband so the two could be together. That man's wife, after knowing her husband was having an affair and demanded a divorce, was extremely miserable, and she sought the 44 path, or suicide, many times. However, it was unsuccessful. Every time she did it, she thought of her children. This man also had 2 children, so this woman loved her children extremely, so she decided not to commit suicide anymore. After a long time of determination, that guy divorced his wife and Jennifer also divorced her husband. The two moved in to live together permanently. Thus, one family's children lost their father, one family's children lost their mother, and these two officially moved to live together. During the time living together, conflicts began to kindle. At first, it was very happy, clinging and pampering each other. However, living together for a while, the frictions started to get bigger. About 2 years in, this guy suddenly was no longer passionate about Jennifer, so Jennifer also sensed that this guy was having emotional issues. Many times Jennifer asked this guy, but he avoided it and hummed and hawed to let it pass. He no longer confided in Jennifer. As a woman with an extremely sharp sixth sense, Jennifer decided to investigate this guy. In the process of finding out, Jennifer discovered that this guy was hooking up with a girl 8 years younger than him. When she found out, this guy also begged and said he promised not to repeat the offense. After a while, she discovered he was still interacting with that friend. So she was extremely miserable and sad. At that time, losing direction, mood collapsing, she decided to seek the 44 path, When she died, Jennifer had a lifespan of 35 years. Everyone. When she died, her soul left her physical body, and the demons used chains to drag her down to the underworld. Her sin was the sin of adultery, extremely heavy. Everyone. Making children lose their father, making people's families shattered. So she had to suffer an incredibly terrible punishment. First, Jennifer was put into a very familiar punishment, which is being naked and hugging a hot bronze pillar. When hugging the hot bronze pillar, the flesh would be burnt and scorched, and every time she slid down, the flesh would stick to the bronze pillar, and just like that until the skin was all slimy. When sliding down to the foot of the bronze pillar, the demons used whips to beat her back very hard. Being too scared, the sinful soul would climb up, just climbing up and down like that, making the flesh mashed and broken. While hugging like that, at this head part, in the void, there were iron crows flying down and pecking at the head. Everyone. They knocked in a way that smashed the whole head open. After finishing the punishment of hugging the bronze pillar, she was moved to another prison gate which is being sliced. The demons forced her to lie on a heated iron bed. Jennifer was split into two chunks, one chunk for the husband because she betrayed the husband, one chunk for the lover because she broke another person's family happiness. Continuing to move to another prison gate, she was tied tightly by hands and legs on the hot iron bed. The demons took a sharp stick and stabbed into the eyes, making her blind in both eyes. After that, they used a drill, drilling into the sinful soul, making the blood leak out. It was truly too gruesome, because she had another sin, which is using deceitful, sweet words to seduce others to follow her and leave their wife and children, words that cause division. Therefore, Jennifer had to suffer the additional punishment of having her tongue cut out. After a long time of finishing the torture in hell, finally Jennifer finished paying her karma. But that was just karma in hell. When reincarnating, she had to continue 2 lives as a pigeon as well as 6 lives as a sparrow. Being an animal in these 6 lives was no different from being in hell. Everyone. She was caught by people, slaughtered for meat. Extremely painful. Not only that, frequently having to suffer hunger, suffer cold. It was extremely miserable. In the final sparrow life, when lost, he went down to the underworld to drink soul-restoring water and return to being the original Jennifer. At this time, she continued to be sent up to the mortal world to be a hungry ghost, a thirsty ghost. Challenge everyone to know why. Because her positive lifespan had not ended. She died at 35 years old due to suicide, but her actual lifespan was 78 years old. Take 78 minus 35 to get the amount of time she had to stay in the mortal world suffering as a hungry ghost. Also very luckily, in a certain life, Jennifer had sown seeds with Buddhism. Therefore, in the past time, the immortal elder pointed the way, and Sister Helen's group came to enlighten and bring the spirit to the pagoda. During the enlightenment process, Spirit Jennifer shared further that, when in the underworld being judged by the king of hell, she knew that her lover lived for about 6 more years. Then also died and went down here to suffer punishments like her. However, this person committed adultery 2 times, with the first wife and with Jennifer, so the sin would be much heavier. There, do you see, everyone? The retribution for adultery is terribly horrible. Time will answer everything. In the past, retribution came slowly. Now retribution is an immediate chain before your eyes. If you believe, reflect. If not, watch for entertainment. And finally, Kevin wishes everyone to always be diligent in spiritual practice.